Hi everyone, I'm so happy you're here with me today. We're doing a craft on the letter O, O for owl. You're a pumpernickel, so you'll already have your supplies in front of you. So let's get started. In front of me I have my owl egg carton, and there it is. So next I want to make sure that I've got the paintbrushes that I need, as well as the paint that I want to use, any scissors, feathers, googly eyes, and the little piece of fabric that came with your craft. So let's get started. Let's take our owl and pick the color that we want to use for the wings. Of course, you don't have to start on the wings, but we're doing it along together, so let's do that. I have 3 paintbrushes. You don't need to have 3. Just make sure that you have a little piece of paper to wipe your paintbrush to change colors, or a piece of fabric that your grown-up has given you that you can use and wash. So now that I've done the first wing, I'm going to move on to the second one. Now you can take your time. You can do different strokes to do different textures on the cardboard. So see, if I tap it like that, it creates a different look, as opposed to stroking it like that, which will make it flatter. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of texture on both sides. That looks good. Now I'm going to take the same brown. You can choose a different color, but I want to keep my brown, and I'm going to go right underneath here, under the neck of the owl. And then around his head. This area right here, we're going to leave without any paint. And the reason for that is we're going to be putting glue on top of it. So let's leave a little circle area, maybe about that size, with no paint on it at all. That way, when we put our glue down, it will stick properly. So let's avoid that and just move on to the other areas. I'm not painting my feet because I want that to be the color yellow. Wonderful, look at that. Now I'm going to move it around a little bit. And now I'm going to move to the top. And see this area right here? Let's go ahead and color that too, because that's the back of the owl. The owl's top head. That looks good. Now remember, you can always come back and paint any areas that you find you've missed afterwards. But for now, that looks really good. I'm happy with that. Maybe just a little bit down here. Perfect. All right, so now I think I'm going to switch to the color green. You may not have green, you might have a different color, but I'm just going to go in here and paint around the eyes. But there's a little circle inside there, inside your carton, right where we're going to put our googly eye. So let's avoid that area and just go around the inside of the eye. I can go all the way down there. I'm sort of just patting it in. That fills out really nicely. And you see how I've just left that much area? That will be where my googly eye goes. All right, we're going to continue on here, painting around and up. And if you get a little bit of paint on you, don't worry about it. Half the fun is getting paint on you. I'm going to move in here, all the nooks and crannies, and do the same thing on the other side. That's filling out really nicely. Now you'll notice that I'm not coloring my beak, because my beak I'm going to do a different color. I like how that looks. And I'm going to go just to there. Now there are little parts that could probably go back again a little later, but for now I like the way that looks, and I've left my little tiny area for my googly eye. Now I'm going to go in with my orange. I'm just going to paint my beak. good thing about this craft is it doesn't have to be done all at once. If you want to, you can leave it until everything dries and then come back and do your other colors then too. So this is a take your time kind of craft. I like the way the beak is looking right now. And you can go in and underneath as well. You could leave that blank, but I like to get all the nooks and crannies. Looking good. Very nicely done. All right. Now before I do my red, I'm actually going to take my orange and I'm just going to wipe it off. Now you might have a piece of cloth that you can use that's good to be washed, or a paper towel like me, or even a piece of paper will do. So I'm going to take my red paint and I think I'm going to put it over here. You can take your time. You might pick another color. Maybe you have blue or purple. Maybe you'll mix some colors to make something else. This is a nice time to experiment with what colors mixed together make other colors. But for now, I'm going to use my red. That looks really cool. Now I'm going to wipe that off again. If I have a little bit of red on there, it's okay. But I'm going to go back to my orange and focus on my little claws down here, my little feet. I like the way that the egg carton bottom is textured. Gives a little bit of something special down at the bottom. It's not exactly straight, and I like that. So that's looking good. Now I am going to take my scissors and I'm going to grab my piece of felt here. Now you might have felt, you could also use any other piece of fabric or another piece of colorful paper. I'm just going to eyeball it, which means I'm just going to see if I can create a little circle or a little oval to fill in that spot that we left blank. Now that looks like a pretty good fit actually. And I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to put quite a bit of glue on that spot. Unless you're using paper, you want a little bit more so it's a little gloopy so that your fabric will stay. This is a really good time for white glue because it will get all the nooks and crannies of the fabric. Next, I am going to take my googly eyes and my glue again. Here we go, I'll use this one. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on my googly eyes and then press it on in to the space where the eyeballs go. I'll do my second one, press it on down. Now you could go in there after it dries and do your color around, but actually I think we did a pretty good job here. Now what I'm going to do is take my scissors and very carefully, now you don't have to, but I like that I can go in there and create little tiny feet, little claws. Adds a little something extra to my owl. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just a little something to make it a little more realistic, like that. You could also take your scissors and cut little feathers into the feathers. Just like that. See how that looks? Pretty neat. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Maybe I'll do the same amount. Just like that. Now some friends might have a similar egg carton head to me, while others might have something that pops up. So depending on what kind you have, you could also take your scissors and do the same up here. So it looks like little feathers. bit there. I'm just going to get that off. And then one last thing you could do also is add some feathers to the top of your little guy here. Maybe I'll just add one. The good thing is if you're very gentle and not with adding too much paint, it will actually help the feather stick. And that looks pretty cool to me. And there you have it. O for owl. That's a pretty neat craft with some paint and some feathers and an egg carton. I hope you had fun, and I hope you send me photos. I'll see you next time.